After an unpleasant defeat that the British have been inflicted upon in the North Sea on one of their raiding cruiser forces, the war on land is happening mostly around the colonies. Currently, there's a British offensive going on against German and Austro-Hungarian forces in Cameroon. There's a German offense from our possessions in Tanganyika going on towards Belgian-controlled Congo, while at the same time defending against a pincer move that the British have launched both from the south and from the north, but with very insufficient force. The other fight is going on near the Yellow Sea, where the British are once again with, if I can actually manage that, where is it? It's a little hidden behind everything there, where the British are assaulting a vastly superior German defense force in Tsingtao with a force of only 8,000, and they have already taken significant losses. Our fleet in Asia is currently on return to Tsingtao, and consists of the Gneisenau and the Bayern, both relatively old ships, plus 2 heavy cruisers, a light cruiser, and a destroyer. We will need to eventually reinforce the forces in Asia, because war with Japan is not out of the question, and the Japanese obviously have a vastly superior force here. So for now, these ships are going to return to the safety of the minefields around Tsingtao, and potentially also go for a refit. We still have a force in the Mediterranean of 4 older battleships, 2 Nassaus and 2 Deutschland classes, as well as 2 battle cruisers, 2 heavy cruisers, and a destroyer. This force is on the way out from the Mediterranean through the Strait of Gibraltar, and has to make their way through the English Channel back to their home islands, which is going to be relatively difficult. In order to support that, we have our 4 Derfflinger class battle cruisers out and about in the sea, and we will actually move these a little closer towards the English Channel. We just have to avoid the minefields around Yarmouth, and see if we can make sure that the straits are clear. We've got submarines operating in the North Sea, and we do have both the Kaiser Wilhelm II, the lead ship of her class, and the Kronprinz, which is currently under repair, stationed in Kiel. So we probably once the repairs are finished on the Kronprinz and the commissioning is done on the Kaiser Wilhelm II, they can join the High Seas Fleet in the North Sea. Until then, we will monitor developments. The 4 battle cruisers that were trying to clear the English Channel have been met by a significant force from the British main fleet. We are facing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 destroyers, a whole group of light cruisers, several heavy cruisers, the Repulse, the Prince Consort, Magnificent, and Warspite. They are obviously, while individually each of these ships is inferior to our battle cruisers, in the sheer number of them will make this a difficult engagement. We are organized into 2 battle groups. We've got Lützow and Derfflinger, as well as first Bismarck and Hansa in the second group. We have reports of enemy smoke in the southwest, so we are actually going to slightly move away from that and try to use our superior speed to deal with the light forces first. Now the problem is, if we're coming under consistent torpedo attack and it distracts our guns, then the enemy battleships from the rear can just operate at will. Unfortunately, we don't have sufficient destroyers and escorts. The heavy cruisers that I would have liked as escorts are still under construction, but we'll have to make do, because otherwise there's no chance that our force from the Mediterranean can ever make it home. So for now, we're going to try and maintain the distance as much as possible. deal with the light forces, because they should be faster than the battleships. And we have a max speed of 27 knots, so hopefully we can use that to our advantage. Draw them out and defeat them in detail. Yeah, there's the first contact. That is, by the looks of it, that could be a heavy cruiser or one of the battle cruisers potentially. So given that we've been spotted, that means the light forces are going to be nearby, which means we probably need to do a harder turn and make sure that we can disengage and that we are engaging the lighter ships that are having the speed. Like, what is this here? That's a big one. That is also looking more like a heavy cruiser, maybe? Similar type. There are some smoke screens back there. So we will definitely perform a try to perform a somewhat of a withdrawal to get ourselves out of effective gun range of the big guns, and see if we can manage to draw the light forces out. Okay, that should hopefully do. So let's maintain this course. I mean, we are going to start shooting, but yeah, there come some light forces. We can see the smoke screens on the horizon. So we do need to make sure that we open up the angles. Oh, that was a nice forward belt pen on something that we've been hitting there. We haven't identified the targets yet. I'm not sure if these are battle cruisers, battleships, or if these are the heavy cruisers. I think this might be the battleships actually, but they're definitely destroyer forces and similar things coming out here. So we will open up the distance and try to draw the light forces out, and we will actually be conservative with our ammunition for now. So because that might be a bit of a protracted battle. Let's make sure we're not getting any collisions here. Okay, that should probably do the trick. So let's get them to sail slightly away from the enemy, and hopefully the light forces will eventually make their way here. Meanwhile, we're in a long-range gunnery duel with these heavy ships over there. But at this range, they shouldn't be overly effective, and we should be able to complete the turn here. And hopefully the light forces can be drawn out a little bit. Let's make sure we're not getting too close. We don't want any collisions. But yeah, the fire is not particularly effective at this range. Neither is ours. But again, that's not also the point. We are trying to draw the light ships out from here, and hopefully they can close the range faster than their. Yep, there we've got something. What is that? That is a destroyer. Okay, so let's focus fire on that destroyer and see that we can get that taken care of. Now, a destroyer in smoke at this distance is going to be difficult to hit. I think the chances from our guns are not particularly great. No, they are not. So we might actually maintain main gun fire. No, we'll leave it. We'll leave the main guns on. We'll leave the main guns on the destroyer as well. We do need to take. There are 8 destroyers out there, so there's a lot of potential torpedoes, which means we do need to keep sailing away, keep dragging them away from their battle lines and out of the covering fire of the enemy heavy guns. Ow! That was a penetrating hit on our foredeck. I could have done without that. First Bismarck has taken the first unpleasant hit, and unfortunately, flooding hits are always going to reduce the speed that we can sail in. So we may have to revert to, what is the chance? Yeah, the chance is really low to hit this ship. But let's see if we can make something happen. Maybe the secondaries can. Right now, I was more concerned. The secondary's got plenty of ammunition. I'm just more concerned with not staying within effective gunnery range of the large guns. And again, the British are hitting with these 335 mils. And Obviously, the destroyers are now acting as scouting force. Okay, there's a second one, so we're going to get second group to target that thing. Yeah, they're acting as scouting groups for the rest that we can't even see. So let's see if we can bait them into coming a little closer, and can we just need a couple good hits with the high explosive or from the 150s. We might adjust our course slightly to close the range a little bit. The flooding on the first Bismarck is nothing serious so far. I think they might be able to deal with that in the bow section from that overpenetration. It looks like the fire from the... Nope, there is still incoming large caliber shell fire from extreme ranges, but I think they're going to... There will be lucky hits if they manage to actually hit us. Although that came pretty close to the Hansa. What else is there? We've got 1, 2, 3 destroyers. Okay, so we've got the first destroyer group coming up on us here. And let's see if we can close the distance a little now that we are out of range of the battleship guns, and see that we can deal with these destroyers. It does say it might be a light cruiser. I doubt it. These look like destroyers to me. We obviously have to be careful with torpedoes, because we are operating at a, what is that? 6 kilometer range, so torpedoes are a possibility. Are these torpedoes? No, that's just ocean waves. Always difficult to tell where the torpedoes are. We're still getting some large caliber fire from the rear, but right now I'm more interested in dealing with that group of destroyers. And for that, unfortunately, we are going to have to get into effective range, because right now our chances of actually hitting these, especially with the 150s, are minimal. So we will turn in and start engaging these destroyers. Hopefully that'll also throw any... I don't think they've launched torpedoes yet, so we'll do have to be a little bit careful. I am going to detach the divisions here to get the ships to operate independently. So let's get Derflinger as well to turn. And yeah, take out these torpedo boats, destroyers, whatever they are. Okay, Hansa is having a fire, but I think that is just from their little guns. They should be capable of dealing with that relatively easily in damage control. And we should now start to get very slowly into effective range. The 150s are absolutely struggling to hit anything, to be honest. So I think we might have been better off. Well, they're casemate guns. Okay, we are starting to take fire again from the battle line, but it's inaccurate at this point at best. We do, however, have to be careful with torpedoes. So everybody target the porpoise and see if we can get that thing blown out of the water before she can launch her torpedoes. Otherwise, we might have to do some evasive actions here. But I don't think they have angles at this point, unless they are targeting Derflinger. So let's get Derflinger to actually turn about, and let's get her to drop some speed down to 18 knots. And hopefully, have they launched their torpedoes? Not yet. They haven't launched yet. So hopefully we can take them out before they're launching their torpedoes. There come the torpedoes. Okay, Derflinger needs to hard about. That should be okay, and I think Lützow is going to be okay, but target that destroyer. That torpedo here might be a problem, so we're already going to get the first Bismarck to start targeting the other destroyer. Derflinger might be okay, back to full all-ahead flank. She might be able to... Yeah, it was a Dutch torpedo. Okay, so I think she had enough. She had enough of an angle. I'm not sure about Hansa. I don't know. Oh, second torpedo, but also dud because it didn't have the angle to. It didn't have the angle. Hansa needs to drop speed and turn hard as well to avoid that torpedo. Okay, the porpoise is sinking, so focus fire on the next destroyer. That is the Michael. And Hansa is avoiding these torpedoes, so they can already take on the Badger. Derflinger can get back into the fight, also target the Badger. Hansa get back up to full speed. I think we have managed to dodge those torpedoes, unless there's one. That one torpedo might come in. Lützow, turn. Okay, that I think has just blown off this destroyer. The Michael, I think, has been more or less blown up, so target the Badger. First Bismarck. Are they launching torpedoes? They are launching torpedoes. First Bismarck, target. Okay, target that one, that's fine. The Lützow is already turning. Because we are attracting fire again from the heavies, so we do need to open up the distance again here. Michael is sinking, torpedoes have been avoided. Hansa get back on course. Derflinger as well. Actually, Derflinger and Hansa can form up again. So Hansa get back on course and target the Badger. That one is sinking. Lützow target the Hardy. And the first Bismarck target the Hardy as well. First Bismarck also needs to turn. So turn hard about, open up the distance. And these two are taking on the Badger still. Yeah, that is good. And that is a good course for these two. Let's increase speed. And we are also going to form up the Lützow and the first Bismarck again. So let's go on turn about and target that other destroyer. So that one, I think, okay, that's the Badger. Badger has taken a hit from the 305s. Even an over-penetration on a destroyer with high explosive is doing a lot of damage. She doesn't have torpedoes ready. The Hardy, however, does. So that one needs to go. And we'll need to make sure that that destroyer doesn't get its torpedoes away. And these two are going to need to turn about and make sure. Yeah, Badger is trying to reload his torpedoes. So let's see if we can get him sunk still. But there is something on the horizon. I believe that is this is one of the battle cruisers. So these things are probably relatively quick, and they are starting to open up on us again. So we need to get that destroyer there out of the way. And in order to do that, we're gonna just straighten her out. Actually, I'm gonna detach that because Lützow is struggling to maintain position. Do engage the Hardy. I'm not sure if she is targeting Lützow, but we haven't seen any torpedoes yet. She is in smoke, which is making this difficult. We are now in range for the 88mm guns. So we are already going to disengage, or not disengage, but turn away with the Lützow just in case. There are torpedoes in the water. I think first Bismarck should be fine. There's also the Badger still, who's trying to reload. So Lützow, focus on the Badger. I don't think I have seen torpedoes in the water. So stay the course, focus the Badger. First Bismarck, and the rest of them have the Hardy in a crossfire. But Lützow is also starting to take fire from the rear. We just need one good hit here. And I mean we are fighting this at point blank range. We're at 2 kilometer distance. We should be able to take out that destroyer. Okay, I think she's launched torpedoes. Where has she launched torpedoes? No, I think we've just respotted her. Or maybe she has. That might have been aimed at Derflinger. So detach, drop speed, and hard about. And hopefully, yep, that's looking better. That's looking better. Now we are starting to see some results here, I think. Oh, where are these torpedoes? There were torpedoes in. Oh, she's aimed. No, never mind. She's aimed and met the Hansa. Okay, Hansa, turn about. Derflinger back on course. And Derflinger tried to take out the Badger. And I think the Hardy is now out. So we should be able to have first Bismarck come around and take her out. I think we have managed to avoid these torpedoes mostly. And that should be the end of that destroyer. There's more where these came from, but again, we are trying to go for a defeat in detail here because we obviously can't fight the whole group in one go. So pulling the destroyer escort out, I think has done the trick. More turn. Okay, the Hardy is down. Target the Badger. And that is fine. Okay. We can turn back on course and we can reform our battle lines. So let's follow the first Bismarck. Yeah, you're aligned now. And is that thing still trying to get his torpedoes reloaded? But she is in pretty rough shape. We just need a couple good hits, I think, so we can get Derflinger to follow the Hansa and get these two to line up. And then we can start engaging. We will probably perform a bit of a turn here. Get the two ships lined up and start engaging that chasing battleship with the main guns. So everybody focus on that thing, while the secondaries hopefully can make short work of that destroyer if she is still coming around. She is taking fire from the secondaries, but the chances of hits are not great. But we've got plenty of ammunition to spare, and I think she is disengaging here after seeing what happened to her sister ships. So under that relatively withering fire, I think she is about to leave us alone for the time being, which means we can regroup and start focusing our gunfire on. So both groups, please, main guns on that battleship. That means we do need to turn the turrets around, and we're still opening up the distance. And just to make sure that you can actually go straight ahead now. You as well, go straight ahead. We should be able to get our guns on target. And I think the destroyer is disengaging. Badger is leaving. I think she is getting her flooding under control, however. So, and she will, once she's got the torpedoes, yeah, she's got getting the flooding under control. So once we'll just keep firing at the secondaries. Maybe we get a lucky hit in. Not sure what the Lützow is doing here, so detach that. You are supposed to follow. So let's get her lined up. And I think we have lost sight of the enemy battleship, which is fine. Again, we are just trying to. We've landed a hit. I think the Badger is going down. Okay, good. So now they have lost vision on us, which means we can form up again into. Yep, something is. I think that was the destroyer. So now they've lost sight of us, which means we can regroup, and we can then turn about and see if we can engage the next group at distance. Okay, we have re-established contact with, I think, the rest of the battle group. I think this is one of their battleships, and they are with her scouting force, with her screening forces. So after this first little skirmish, I'm going to start opening up at the enemy battleship with the main guns. We do have to be a little bit careful with our ammunition because this is a relatively large group. So we might have to be a little bit conservative with that. We'll see if we can get some hits on target. The chance isn't great because the distance is too great. So from the first Bismarck, that is a distance of it doesn't even tell me, but it's well in excess of effective range, and she is coming after us. So the British obviously are trying to give battle, and we are sending some shells over. We'll see if anything hits. We have spotted a second ship. We've managed to do a partial penetration on one of the main guns on the lead ship. This is another battle cruiser maybe, and this might be a heavy cruiser. It's difficult to tell, but I think okay, this is the Magnificent. So we're dealing with a I'm not sure what class that is, but relatively decent armor, 305mm guns and 150mm secondaries. So definitely a match for us. So we'll see if we can land some hits on target. I don't want to close in because they still have a large amount of light forces. I'm still hoping that the angles aren't great because she's coming straight at us, but I'm still hoping that some of their light forces will detach and will allow us to chip away a couple more from them. But right now this is all we can see, so we're being conservative with our ammunition, and we have managed a main tower penetration on this ship, which has damaged it somewhat, which is going to make their targeting worse. But I'm happy with this course for now, even though the chance of hitting them is not great. We've got like 15%. Lützow is still spotting. First Bismarck is ranged in on 14%, but it's a relatively low chance because of the distance. We're talking about an engagement range of almost 14 kilometers here. But again, I can't rush in because there are too many light forces. Oh, that was a nice hit. Another main tower penetration on the Magnificent. I think one more hit and we might be able to take down her main tower, and that would obviously be beneficial in terms of having them giving them less ability to aim. Forward group has closed the range somewhat, but is having we're now down to 11 kilometers, but we do need to open up the angles a bit. The second group is giving a bit more distance, but the shell fire has just been too ineffective, and it looks like their light forces are not willing to do the same thing that their destroyers have done previously and give chase. So we will try to keep engaging the Magnificent at longer ranges and see if some of their light forces will be willing to detach and come after us. But right now it doesn't look like. So we'll be closing the range a little bit towards these battle cruisers or these battleships. That was an aft-belt penetration, and I think the focus fire on the Magnificent is starting to show some effect. So we've got Döffling and Hansa in the rear, and we've got the first Bismarck and the Lützow in forward positions. We are closing to below 10 kilometers, which means that our guns are much more effective at this point. So we'll go straight and see if we can inflict some damage onto the Magnificent. The first Bismarck has a solution of 70% against the enemy ship. The Lützow isn't quite in range. Oh, is that another destroyer coming in? And indeed, that is another destroyer coming in. So I'm gonna need everybody's secondaries. That is secondaries focused on that destroyer. And in fact, the second group can completely focus fire on that destroyer, although I'm doubtful that they're going to be hitting that, but we will try. And the rest of them keep firing at the Magnificent and see if we can wear them down. Okay, that's another aft-belt penetration. And I think it's the first Bismarck that has its solution built up really well. So Lützow is still spotting for her own splashes. And Hansa and Derfling are trying to hit the destroyer, but actually redirect your main guns onto the Magnificent again. I think there's no real chance of hitting that. Okay, we're getting some return fire, but these were some really good hits on the Magnificent. I think she might not be as magnificent anymore as she used to be. She has lost her rudder, she's lost her fire control, she is taking flooding in the rear, and the Warspite is now actually coming under fire as well. I would like to finish up the Magnificent if possible. So main guns on the Magnificent, secondary guns on the destroyer. Secondary guns on the destroyer, main guns on the Magnificent. Okay. And the same with the second group. That destroyer, in fact, actually, I'm thinking of detaching Lützow and taking on the destroyer with the main guns. I really don't want to lose the Bismarcks. Okay, actually, it looks like the Magnificent is taking evasive action there. No, that's fine. We can keep going. There was actually a collision as the Magnificent has tried to evade Warspite. And it looks like she is, she is taking severe beating from the 305mm guns at range. And that destroyer is concerning me. I'm not sure what it is yet, but so far our secondaries have been relatively ineffective in actually hitting that thing, because he's small and fast moving. The Magnificent looks like she's about to retire. So while we are focusing secondary gunfire on the destroyer, I am gonna keep the fire off at the Magnificent and see if we can finish her off. That would be great. Why are we shooting with the secondaries again? I think secondaries onto the destroyer. And that thing is, we haven't identified her yet, but it's a full health destroyer, so I don't think she's in a position. Okay, that was a hit from the 88s, a hit from the 152s. Okay, I think the secondaries are starting to become, she is coming in range of the 88s. The secondaries are becoming effective. We do need to turn, however, such that we're not getting into any torpedo issues here. Yeah, at this range, I think the 150s are starting to become effective, but we are getting a little. Yeah, the Magnificent is falling behind here. I think we will start targeting the Warspite instead soon, because she is definitely the one who is leading more. And we just need to make sure that second group is safe. Yeah, we're getting good hits in. That destroyer that is called the Welland. Okay, there might be torpedoes in the way. I am going to keep turning with second group just to make sure that avoid torpedoes, because there are also more small ships coming in. And we're going to keep... Yeah, there come the torpedoes. So I think first group is safe. Second group is going to turn away. And we are still... Okay, let's target everything at the Magnificent and see if we can finish her off. How's that destroyer looking? Not too good. So hopefully the small guns are going to be able to take it out. There come the torpedoes. Second group can straighten out. And we're also getting chased by... What is that? Is that another destroyer? That is indeed another destroyer. So I'm going to get second group, once they're done with this one, to target everything on that destroyer. Once they're done with that thing, take on the next destroyer there, which means unfortunately that we are somewhat splitting our fire here, which I'm not happy about. So we'll need to move away a little bit and once again draw them out. Okay, that one torpedo looks like it could do something against Hansa, but I think Derflinger has... No, I think it's not gonna hit. It's difficult to tell because it's in the wake. Okay, that destroyer just blew up catastrophically. So start. Actually, yeah, I think that thing is done for. Start targeting the next one. Okay, Hansa has managed to dodge the torpedoes, so we're going to get her to turn into position again, and we are somewhat turning away, and we're going to concentrate fire on the chasing destroyer here. We're going to once again try and disengage and take care of the screening forces as much as possible while dodging their torpedoes. And then once these are dealt with, then we'll start refocusing our fire. So I want that destroyer out of the way, because that thing might still have torpedoes. And then we can form up again. Also, we are too far from each other at this point, so we're going to return to our previous course and try to link up, take out the destroyer, and then I think it's just the Warspite chasing us. I think the Magnificent the Magnificent is no longer giving chase. So let's see if we can deal with these chasing destroyers here. And potentially, what is this? Is this a heavy? It says maybe a heavy cruiser. I think that's a light cruiser, to be honest. So let's rejoin the battle groups, take down that destroyer. Everybody just focus on that thing. Second group, focus that down. It's the Zulu. She does have torpedoes, so we do need to be a little careful. But it'll only take 1 or 2 good hits, and then these destroyers are generally taken care of. We do have to, however, be a little bit conservative with the ammo. We have a fair amount of high explosive on the main guns, but it can take a while to take these things down. Okay, there we go. That was a good hit. What was that? It was from... Oh, we've actually taken a hit in return. What was it? The Hansa? I think the Hansa has taken a hit from one of the battleships. We did get a small hit on the Zulu. We just need to take that thing out. Okay, that was a good one. Couple more like that, and then she will just blow up. And then we can return our focus onto the Warspite, because that's, I think, the next one I want to take on. Okay, I'm going to start turning first group and start targeting HMS Warspite over there. While second group is going to turn the other way and deal with the destroyer and then the light cruiser. I think that is the better division of labor here. So first Bismarck and Lützow. First Bismarck has taken a couple of hits, I think, from Warspite, and I think that destroyer is about done for. So we're going to get her to turn and engage the Warspite that's giving chase. There's still another battleship, and the Magnificent is falling behind. So the Repulse and the Prince Consort are kind of guarding her. But I would like to, which means that Warspite has allowed herself to get a little bit isolated. So we're going to perform a turn here, and the other two are, in fact, I'm not sure that no, the Zulu is still giving chase. So the other two can turn around and see that they can get a solution also maybe on that light cruiser over there, while the rest of the group is engaging the Warspite over there. And I think Derflinger has trouble turning, but we'll figure that out eventually. The current engagement range towards Warspite is just under 10 km, which is starting to be the effective range once they have completed their turn. And they should be in a relatively good position. We're going to get Hansa to turn around completely, followed by Derflinger, and take down this destroyer, and then next that light cruiser over there. The Zulu still hasn't fired her torpedoes because she is again in a stern chase. So we'll see how that goes. And there we've got it. I think it was Derflinger actually that was getting a big hit in on that destroyer. So second group can now start engaging the light cruiser, the Topaz over there. while performing their full turn. While first group is lining up, first Bismarck has taken a couple of hits, but first group is now lining up to take on Warspite. And Warspite herself is already taking fire as well. So we'll see if these two can inflict sufficient damage to the British battleship to slow her down and maybe force her to disengage as well.